Over 6,500 abstracts were submitted for the plenary session, but only 6 were chosen to present. Here's a look at this year's top abstract presentations.
The first one that will be presented is by Dr. Wood. I think this is a very important abstract because it's a very large study of pediatric leukemia, which is a rare disease. And this abstract actually studied over 1,100 children with this disease and provides a lot of information about the prognosis of these children. We may see a little bit in here about some of the treatments and certainly some of the what we can expect in the modern era with our new therapies. This will also provide very important information on how to monitor these patients so that we can more easily tell who's going to do well with their current therapy and who may need to have a change in their treatment strategy. The second abstract is going to be presented by Dr. Grabovski, and I think this is a very different abstract than the first one. This is focusing on some basic research. Honestly, a lot of it was done in mice, but it gets at a very important question for humans, which is how does the body manage the number of platelets that it has? So platelets are very important in our body. If you have too many, it can cause a problem. If you have too few, it can cause a problem. And so it's always been a mystery how exactly the body is able to know how many platelets it has and appropriately manage the amount it's making. And so this research group will be explaining finally how the body can sense the number of platelets that it has and how it's able to secrete a hormone that's called thrombopoietin that increases the body's ability to make platelets. So it's very basic work, but it's getting at a fundamental issue in human biology, and it could lead to some very important new approaches to how to manage platelets. Another abstract by Dr. Lee is going to be explaining the discovery of a new cell that's been associated with graft versus host disease. So graft versus host disease is a major complication when we do cell transplantation from one person to another, and this research group has identified a cell that may be very important in this complication. Another abstract that's going to be presented is by Dr. Fink. This is a very important abstract because it explains the mechanism of how a drug works, lenalidomide, in a very particular hematologic disease, which is 5q minus myelodysplastic syndrome. So this is a case in hematology where we figured out that the drug worked before we actually understood how it works. And so this abstract actually presents the mechanism. It's also important because it explains a mechanism that could be exploited in other diseases, and so it's also a paradigm-shifting insight into other therapies that could be developed. Another abstract that will be presented at the plenary is by Dr. Biasco and colleagues. This abstract I think is very interesting because it takes a population of patients that were given gene therapy many years ago and then exploits the fact that they received that gene therapy to come to some very basic understanding about how our stem cells are controlled in our body, what they go on to develop, and how different cells are related or not to each other. The sixth abstract presents the results of a large randomized trial in patients who were younger than 60 with acute myeloid leukemia. This is an important abstract because it was a placebo-controlled double-blind study that actually showed that if you added a new drug to our standard treatment, patients actually did better. They had less relapse, they had better survival, and so more information is always important, but this really may improve the treatment of acute myeloid leukemia in younger patients.
All of these abstracts are available online. I'm Rachel Kopchak for ASH News TV.